There's something going on in Philly, and it's starting to boil over. The offense looks confused, the rhythm is gone, and the guy at the center of it all, Nick Sirianni, doesn't seem too worried, at least, not publicly. But let's be honest, Eagles fans are worried. They're watching a team with one of the most talented rosters in the league struggle to move the ball, and at the core of it all is one issue that just won't go away: play calling. And Sirianni, for better or worse, is keeping his hands on the wheel. Now, when Sirianni stepped in front of the media and was asked if there were going to be changes on offense, particularly with the way the play calls were being handled, he didn't dodge the question. He said no. Flat out, no changes. Kevin Patullo is staying in his role, and Sirianni is still heavily involved. That's the setup moving forward. And I get it, continuity matters. But sometimes, staying the course only works when the course is actually taking you somewhere. If we're being real, this feels familiar. We saw it last season with Sean Desai on the defensive side. Remember how that went? That move backfired hard. Instead of improvement, the defense spiraled. The team thought a shakeup would fix things, but all it did was create more instability. So maybe Sirianni's trying to avoid that same chaos on offense. Maybe. But here's the thing. Recognizing that something isn't working is just as important as sticking with your guys. The solution doesn't have to be firing someone. It doesn't even have to be demoting anyone. The easiest move the Eagles could make right now is bringing in a consultant. Just an outside voice. Someone to help sharpen the edges, refine the flavor, give this offense a little more direction. Because right now, it's like watching two chefs in the kitchen who've got all the ingredients, but no recipe. It's frustrating because we've seen flashes. We've seen what this offense can be, especially in the passing game. But there's zero consistency. The run game? A mess. Play sequencing? All over the place. And the situational awareness? Don't even get me started. Take the Broncos game, for example. That one should have been a win, no question. But they completely abandoned the run at the worst times. Same thing happened against the Giants. Saquon Barkley had some big runs. Gains of 15 yards here, 12 yards there. And you would think that would serve as a blueprint. But what did the Eagles do? Barely touch the run game. And when they did, it was predictable. Same downs, same yardage situations. That's not scheming. That's just going through the motions. This isn't just a Kevin Patullo problem either. Let's be fair. The entire offensive operation looks disjointed. But Patullo, being inexperienced, is clearly overwhelmed. It's not even about blaming him. It's about recognizing that he's in over his head. And when Sirianni says that he and Patullo are working together to fix the third down efficiency, that tells you all you need to know. Sirianni isn't just overseeing the offense. He's directly involved. And that's where things get sticky, because history matters here. When Sirianni was with the Colts, he wasn't the one calling plays. That was Frank Reich. And when he came to Philly, the offense really started to click when Shane Steichen took over the play-calling duties. Steichen had a feel for the game. He knew how to put Jalen Hurts in rhythm, how to make defenses guess. Sirianni, for all his energy and leadership, has never been known as a top-tier play caller. It's just not his thing. And that's fine. Not every head coach needs to be that guy. But if you're going to keep your hands on the offense, you better be elevating it. Right now, he's not. You can't keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. If Sirianni and Patullo are the only voices in the room, then we're going to keep getting the same meal with the same bland taste. That's why bringing in a consultant makes so much sense. It doesn't need to be a long-term hire. Just someone with a fresh perspective who can sit in the room, break down the tape, and say, hey, here's how you can tweak this, here's where you're going wrong. Someone who's not afraid to challenge the way things have been done. And look, the Eagles have done this before. They tried it with Vic Fangio on the defensive side. Now, that didn't exactly revolutionize the defense overnight, but the concept wasn't the problem, the execution was. They brought in the wrong voice. But the idea? Solid. So why not replicate that on offense? Why not bring in a football mind who can help streamline the process, especially on third downs where the team continues to sputter? It's frustrating because the talent is there. The pieces are in place. But it feels like the coaching staff is either too stubborn or too cautious to admit they need help. And in this league, if you wait too long, the season slips away. Sirianni and Patullo are working hard, no doubt. But effort isn't the issue. It's about direction, about flow, about rhythm. Right now, this offense is all over the place. It's predictable, it's passive, and it's playing not to lose. And let's just say this out loud. Fans saw it coming. A lot of people try to stay optimistic. Gave Patullo the benefit of the doubt. Let him settle in. He just needs time. But we're now 6 weeks in, and the problems are the same. It's not reactionary to say something's broken. It's not negative to want a better product. It's accountability. The team owes it to themselves and to the fans to address what's clearly not working. Nobody's saying Kevin Patullo is the only problem. But it's also fair to say that he hasn't shown he can be the solution either. The offense needs structure. It needs creativity. It needs someone who knows how to adapt mid-drive, mid-quarter, mid-game. Right now, that guy isn't in the building. And unless management opens their eyes and acts quickly, the offense is going to keep spinning its wheels. So yeah, Sirianni is still calling plays, and Kevin Patullo is still the right-hand man. But something's got to give. Whether it's a consultant, a reassignment, or just a more collaborative approach, this offense needs new life. Because what we're watching right now, it's not good enough. Not for this team, not for this quarterback, and definitely not for a fan base that expects results. Now let's shift the focus to the real crisis that's brewing on the defensive side of the ball, and that's the edge rush. Or should I say, the complete lack of one. Let's not sugarcoat this. The Eagles' edge rusher group is in full-blown emergency mode. Zadarius Smith, the only guy who was getting to the quarterback with any kind of consistency, just retired. And yes, you heard that right. The team's best edge rusher this season wasn't even on the roster in Week 1. He had 1.5 sacks, and now he's gone. That should tell you everything you need to know. Let's run through the numbers real quick, and I promise you, it's worse than you think. Patrick Johnson, 1 sack. That's it. He's the team leader among edge rushers. Nolan Smith, 0. Josh Uche, 0. Jalen Hunt, 0. Even Aguilari, a guy who was brought in to bring some firepower off the edge, also 0. It's not just underwhelming, it's embarrassing. And it puts even more pressure on Howie Roseman to get something done, fast. Now let me be clear, I like Patrick Johnson. I think he deserves more snaps. He's got the energy, he's got the motor, and he plays with intensity. But when your best edge rusher has 1 sack through 6 games, and that guy isn't even a starter, you have a problem. The whole unit has been invisible. We're 6 games into the season and there's no edge presence. Offensive tackles are sleeping well before game day because they know they won't be tested off the edge. That's unacceptable. And look, I had high hopes for Jalen Hurts. This was supposed to be his breakout year. I really believed he was going to step into that Josh Sweat role and give us at least 8 sacks. But here we are, approaching midseason, and he's done nothing. He hasn't even looked dangerous. No splash plays, no pressure, nothing that makes opposing quarterbacks nervous. Honestly, at this point, Hunt has been a disappointment. I was ready to move on from Josh Sweat and trust Hunt with those reps. That was a mistake. Speaking of Josh Sweat, he's another name we've got to talk about. This dude gave everything to this team. Took a pay cut to stick around for one more run, helped us get to a Super Bowl, and still, somehow, we let him walk. If Howie had put just a little more on the table, I honestly believe Sweat would have stayed. He wanted to be here. And now we're seeing the cost of letting a homegrown pass rusher walk out the door. There's nobody left to replace him. It's even more frustrating because we thought Nolan Smith was going to be the guy to take that next step. But health has always been the concern. Great talent, but he's fragile. And that's what we're seeing again this season. Every time the snaps go up, the injuries follow. It's the same story over and over. You can't build your defense around a guy who can't stay on the field. The front office bet on upside, and so far, that bet is failing hard. Meanwhile, the interior defensive line is actually holding things down. Jordan Davis is doing his thing. Moro Ojomo has shown flashes, even though Jalen Carter hasn't been himself lately. And that's mostly due to injury. The interior group is still getting some push. But that's not enough. You can't rely solely on the big guys in the middle to carry your entire pass rush. You need edge heat. You need guys flying off the edge, disrupting timing, forcing bad throws. Right now, that's completely missing. This is the moment where Howie Roseman needs to earn that Executive of the Year title. He needs to be on the phone, aggressively. Not waiting, not hoping someone steps up. The tape doesn't lie. This group isn't getting it done, and the numbers are humiliating. Something has to give. And there are names out there. The one that's been floating around, and it makes a lot of sense, is Trey Hendrickson. He's got 4 sacks already this season, and even though he's dealing with a back issue, His production speaks for itself. Yes, the price is high. He's on a 1-year, $30 million deal. But if the Bengals have already covered half of that, you're basically paying 16 for the rest of the season. It's steep, but it's not outrageous if it gets your defense back on track. And let's be real, we're not paying him to be here long-term. We just need someone to finish this run. We need someone who can get to the quarterback and reset the tone of this defense. Another guy that deserves serious consideration is Bradley Chubb. He's not as flashy, but he's consistent, and he's been productive this year with Miami. He's around 28 or 29 years old, right in that veteran sweet spot. If the Dolphins are sellers and Chubb is open to joining a contender, the Eagles could be the perfect landing spot. It's a low-risk, high-reward move that could stabilize the edge group without costing too much capital. But the player I really want? Jermaine Johnson from the Jets. This kid is different. Young, explosive, already making an impact, and exactly the type of guy you build a future around. And yes, it would probably cost a lot to get him, but that's the price of winning. That's what contenders do. You see a guy like Jermaine Johnson, and you go get him. Plug him into this system, let him line up next to Jalen Carter, and watch chaos unfold. The Jets might be willing to move on. They've got decisions to make about the future, and they need capital. The Eagles are in win-now mode. Jermaine Johnson bridges both timelines. He gives you juice this season and becomes a long-term asset. That's the kind of trade that changes the narrative around a defense. Not just a patch, a real building block. If there's one move worth overpaying for, this is it. But if Howie can't make any of these deals happen, if none of these names land in Philly, then the fallback plan might have to be internal. And that means giving Jahad Campbell a shot off the edge. I know it sounds wild, but at this point, can it really be worse than what we're seeing? Campbell's been solid at linebacker. He's athletic, smart, and brings energy. He's shown flashes of being a playmaker. And we're desperate. If Nakobe Dean can hold down the middle, then maybe, just maybe, Campbell can slide over and give us something off the edge. He's got the tools. It might not be ideal, but the Eagles are running out of options. You rotate him with someone like Zach Bond. Create a two-man rotation just to get through games. Try something. Anything. Because standing pat is not an option anymore. FlyEaglesFly News family. Smash subscribe and hit like. Your support keeps the freshest Philadelphia Eagles updates flying in. Drop your take in the comments, and let's talk birds. Rumors are swirling and the NFL world is buzzing after a bombshell statement from none other than Gardner-Johnson. The hard-hitting safety, known for his fearless play and uncanny ability to read offenses, reportedly opened up about the possibility of signing with the Philadelphia Eagles, and the timing couldn't be more tantalizing. Sources close to the player suggest that Gardner-Johnson didn't hold back, leaving fans and analysts alike speculating about what could be one of the most significant moves of the upcoming offseason. While the NFL is no stranger to whispers and speculation, Gardner-Johnson's recent comments have an unusually explosive tone. "I've had conversations that excite me about my future," he reportedly said, a cryptic remark that immediately set social media ablaze. Insiders are interpreting it as a clear signal that the dynamic defender is seriously considering a move to the city of brotherly love. For the Eagles, who have been quietly fortifying their roster and eyeing defensive upgrades, the possibility of adding a player of Gardner-Johnson's caliber could be a game-changer. The timing of this revelation has fueled the frenzy even more. With free agency on the horizon and Philadelphia in search of defensive stability, rumors are mounting that a deal could be closer than anyone thinks. Industry insiders are suggesting that Gardner-Johnson's penchant for aggressive, high-impact play aligns perfectly with the Eagles' defensive philosophy, making the pairing potentially explosive on the field. The mere thought of Gardner-Johnson patrolling the secondary alongside the team's current defensive stars has fans envisioning highlight reel hits and game-changing interceptions. Of course, as with any NFL rumor, skepticism is inevitable. Gardner-Johnson has been linked with other franchises in the past, and negotiations in the league can shift in the blink of an eye. Yet, the unusually candid tone of his statements suggests there might be more than just idle chatter this time. Analysts are already debating salary cap implications, scheme fit, and the potential domino effect this could have across the league. Whether this turns into a headline-grabbing signing or remains tantalizing speculation, one thing is certain. Gardner-Johnson has managed to ignite a storm of anticipation and Eagles fans, not to mention the rest of the NFL, We'll be watching closely. Could this be the start of a defensive revolution in Philadelphia? If the buzz is true, the answer might just be yes. That's a wrap from FlyEaglesFly News. If you want the fastest Eagles updates, subscribe, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Sound off in the comments. Let's talk birds.